First, a little bit about me. Born in San Francisco, moved to the peninsula when I was in high school, raised my family down there, and then moved back to San Francisco 9 years ago. So born here and then transplanted back here. I don't want to ever go back to the peninsula. I love San Francisco. And as Alex said, when I came back to San Francisco 9 years ago, I was fairly apolitical, but saw the homeless problem and decided to get involved in that. And that's how Alex and I left. That's how Alex and I met. And that kind of started my lesson in civics in San Francisco, was with the helping solve the homeless issue in San Francisco. And we have a lot of work to do on homelessness, but Project Homeless Connect has made a huge dent in that problem for San Francisco. And then fast forward to about a year and a half ago, when Twitter decided that because of the payroll taxes in San Francisco, they were planning on moving out of San Francisco. And I was an early investor and advisor in Twitter, and I can assure you it's very true that they had pretty much decided to move out of the city. And our newly appointed mayor, Ed Lee, stepped in and created a payroll tax-free zone right up here at 11th and Market in the old Merchandise Mart building in order to keep Twitter here. And no sooner did he do that than Zanga was making rumblings, well, we're thinking about moving out too. And San Francisco had this ridiculous law about taxing stock options. So any company that was pre-public, namely at the time Zanga and Yelp, were going to get hit with massive taxes that don't exist anywhere else in the country for stock option taxes. And once again, Ed Lee came to the call, and the private company stock option tax was repealed by the Board of Supervisors. So ding, 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 the tech community started to say to itself, wow, we need to stay involved in the government. And we actually had a hand in talking Ed Lee into running for election since he was appointed. And then the tech community rallied around and helped get him elected. And shortly after the election, Ed Lee said to me, hey, you helped get me elected, but tech needs to get even more engaged. And so it was really his idea to form a tech chamber of commerce. And that's basically what sf.citi is. We formed an interest group that represents the tech community, and we have 350 members in the city of San Francisco, tech companies. And if your company is not a member, please talk to Kia. Where's Kia? Back here at our table. Talk to Kia and become a member of sf.citi. There's no cost. It's just about civic engagement. So we formed sf.citi, 350 members. We announced it last January. Those 350 member companies represent probably 90% of the tech population of San Francisco. And we have 4,000 individual members. So we want your company to join sf.citi, and we want you individually to join sf.citi. And that was this card that Alex asked you to fill out, or you can do it electronically. So sf.citi has 6 pillars. Alex talked about a few of them. So let me pick up where he left off on the SFPD public safety pillar. Cops on the street in San Francisco go out and fill out manual police reports, and then they take those manual police reports during their 8-hour shift back to the police station, sit at a PC, and put the data into the into the database on the computer in the police station. Why not do it on a laptop or a tablet, real time, with the victim, or if it's an accident, use the technology to enter the data once in real time, and they don't have to go back to the police station. We think this could make police officers 40% more productive and increase their visibility on the street and therefore reduce crime. If you look at the location of a lot of our tech companies, the employees are worried when they leave after dark. And we can help solve that by having the SFPD on the streets up to 40% more with that project. Alex talked about our transportation initiative, which is Smart Muni. Again, real-time reporting of delays so that the Muni Central Office can go solve that delay, whatever it is, much more quickly in real time. We have a whole pillar around job creation in San Francisco. Once you join SF.citi, we ask that you take all of your open job postings and post them to SF Hire. SF Hire is basically monster.com for the city of San Francisco. So San Franciscans who want employment in San Francisco go to Hire SF, and all the jobs are listed there. But another initiative that we want to get underway, and we will do this in 2013, we're doing a lot of the planning for it now, is go to our top employing companies, get them to forecast what their entry-level positions are going to be in the next 18 months, let's say, and then go to the local colleges in the community and the private organizations in the community and get them to train specifically for those entry-level jobs that we identify. And then when those individuals, those San Franciscans, are trained, place them in the company that predicted that they needed that entry-level job. This is all common sense, but we're going to make it happen. It's all about logistics, and we have a consultant that's working with us, and actually later this month, we're going to make a pretty significant announcement called TechSF, where TechSF, which is on the City Hall side, and SF.citi partner on this very project that I'm describing now. We have a public education initiative. We placed many students, disadvantaged students, in internships in tech companies last summer, and this year we're going to start the planning process a lot earlier, and we hope to place many more students in summer internships. Philanthropically, we donate to many causes in the area, for example, College Track. And then one of the internship programs run by the SFPD, we made a $25,000 donation there. The SFPD angle is pretty unique. The chief of police of San Francisco says, hey, a lot of our disadvantaged kids are not going to college. And so let's stop all the talk of everyone's going to college. They're not all going to college. So the disadvantaged kids who we think probably aren't college bound, SFPD has a whole internship program aimed at those kids, getting them entry-level jobs. Then our sixth pillar is policy. And SF.citi got very involved in solving the payroll tax problem that I talked about earlier that Twitter had. The city created a 1 square block payroll-free tax zone. But Ed Lee said, hey, wait a minute, let's make all of San Francisco a payroll-free tax zone. And that's what Proposition E is all about. And Proposition E has no organized opposition. All 11 supervisors are supporting it. And what it does is it changes from a payroll tax to a gross receipts tax. Right now, there's a disincentive to hiring because everyone you hire, you got to go pay a payroll tax for that person. And what Prop E does is switches it to gross receipts. After you have income, when it makes a lot more sense, then you pay the tax. The city, it's revenue neutral, so the city gets the same amount of money. It's just a much fairer tax system. We think this will prevent companies from Twitter who are threatening to leave from leaving, but we think it will attract even more new tech companies to San Francisco who don't like the idea of a payroll tax. When we talk about civic engagement, there are other ballot propositions. Prop C is super important to tech. It's for low-cost housing. Because we are bringing a lot of jobs and prosperity to the city, rents are going up. We have a ballot proposition C to provide low-income housing, and it's a multi-year funding program for low-cost housing. I hope you all agree with me that Hetch Hetchy, where our water is stored, is an engineering marvel. There are some people who want to tear down Hetch Hetchy, but they want to at least study it. And so we're urging the tech community to vote no on Prop F. Are there other propositions we should be talking about? You know, I invest for a living. I invest in early stage companies. And coming back to San Francisco showed me that I also need to invest in civic engagement. And sf.citi is the result of that. And I feel like sf.citi and what we're doing for civic engagement is one of the best investments I've ever made. And I've invested in Google, Facebook, Twitter, PayPal. But I put sf.citi on that list. So another call to action before I get off the soapbox here, please register to vote. If you're not registered to vote, you can go to, thank you. You can go to the Secretary of State website and register in 5 minutes, as long as you have a California's driver's license, because they'll use your signature on that driver's license for your voter reg. But Kia has registration forms right here. You can register before you leave. She'll be as fast as a computer, and you can do it in 5 minutes. We were out in front of the Ferry Building last Wednesday, registering people to vote on iPads. So no excuses for not registering to vote. And no excuses for not joining sf.citi and voting yes on E. Thank you.